Why are they so popular? What is the appeal? Where do these things even come from? They're ugly. They're soulless. I'm not falling for this propaganda. Have you heard comments and questions like these recently? Perhaps about labubu? These fuzzy creatures have been taking over the world, and they clearly have the power to evoke confusion and even anger as much as joy and obsession. But my question is, can we be normal about labubus? I'd like to start by saying that I personally do not collect labubus, but I have collected other things for a really long time, such as Sylvanian families and stationery. And I have bought labubus as well. Quite recently, for Mother's Day, I bought some for my mother-in-law who really loves them. And I personally am fond of the art of the monsters, which I'll get into very shortly. But yeah, I'd just like to share my perspective as someone who lives in Hong Kong and appreciates labubus, but is also very amused by the current craze. So without further ado, this is my first kind of sit-down video where I just talk about a topic that's on my mind. So here we go. The collection of characters known as the Monsters was created in 2015 by the Hong Kong-based artist Lung Ga-sing, or as you might say, Ga-sing Lung. I'll refer to him as Lung in this video. But yeah, if you go on his Instagram, you can see that the earliest post that he made was in 2015, the year that he created the characters. From what I've gathered about Lung, he was born in Hong Kong in 1972, and he moved to the Netherlands with his family when he was a child. So that would put him in his 40s when he made the monsters, and he's currently in his 50s. One of the major inspirations that he mentions for his work, and also something that fascinated him as a child, is Nordic folklore. In an interview with Hypebeast, he spoke about his time growing up in Europe, stating that at that time there were no game consoles or computers, so I had to draw dolls with a pen. So I had the idea of painting fairy tales since I was a child. And indeed, he has been creating art for an incredibly long time. In a biography by Artworld, it says that in 2003, he won the championship of the Belgium drawing contest. And he was a children's book illustrator while living in Belgium. So he has lived in the Netherlands, Hong Kong, and Belgium. And nowadays, it's said that he goes between Hong Kong and Belgium the most. If you take a look at his Instagram, you can see 10 years worth of his work online. So some of his illustrations, his exhibitions, the characters that have turned into toys, and also his appreciation for all the opportunities and successes he's had in these 10 years since creating the monsters. You can tell that he really cares a lot about his artwork and that he's very appreciative of the people all around the world who have come to love his art after being exposed to it. These days it's possible to meet him when he does signings in Hong Kong and a few around the world, and from everything I've seen, he seems to be a very, very nice person. So that brings me to comments that I've seen that call labubu soulless, and how it just doesn't seem to sit right with me. And I know it's not that serious, and it's not like it's even something that I take personally because I don't collect labubu, but it's very evident that labubu and the monsters were made out of love by Lung. And I feel that just calling labubu soulless just because it's currently a trending character and people are going crazy collecting these bag charms kind of just dismisses the hard work that Lung has put into creating the character in the first place, and how it's really something that he cherishes very much. I think I've seen a lot of comparison between labubu and fugglers. If you don't know, fugglers are another, I guess, collection of characters, and they're very quirky in that they have very human-like teeth, and they are very unique looking. Perhaps not for everyone, but they are very charming, just like how I find labubu. But what I've been seeing is that people are saying things like, in comparison to fugglers, labubu is so soulless and empty. When I'd like to remind everyone that both labubu and fugglers were created from, well, they were born from the creativity of individual artists. A single artist, not a corporation, and out of the love of art. And I know, as I said, maybe it's not that deep, but I feel like I just don't like the way that people dismiss the creation of labubu or what it is. I feel that there are some misconceptions about the company Pop Mart and its products. So Pop Mart is the company that manufactures and sells these bag charms of labubu that people have been going crazy over, as well as other blind boxes. It's true that some Pop Mart products include huge IPs such as Disney characters, but many of the niche characters that people have learned about through Pop Mart were made by independent artists that have contracts with Pop Mart to turn their art into merchandise. So these characters are the creations of artists who have been creating art for years, even before contracting with Pop Mart. They make art because it is their life. It's something that they're very passionate about and they live to make art. From just Hong Kong, we have as well Kenny Wong, who made Molly in 2006 and started collaborating with Pop Mart in 2016, so 10 years after creating the character. We also have Pookie, who made the Pookie series, and Lung himself started collaborating with Pop Mart in 2019, so that's 4 years after he created the monsters. Now, I've been talking about Lung, his creation of the monsters, and Pop Mart, but then why do I care? Like, I don't even collect labubu or really any Pop Mart merchandise. Why am I just sitting here and talking about these things in the first place? Well, it all began. I live in Hong Kong, but I was born and raised in the UK. Maybe you can tell by the way I'm speaking. But yeah, my parents were immigrants who moved from Hong Kong to the UK when they were young. And I moved to Hong Kong to work and live here at 21. I was born in the mid-90s, 1995 to be exact, and around this period was the tail end of the Hong Kong cinema boom. So prior to me growing up as a child, I guess Hong Kong cinema was what made Hong Kong a huge part of pop culture at that time. So when my parents were growing up, I suppose. Yes, growing up, I guess with the Hong Kong cinema boom dying down, I'd always wanted to feel more connected to Hong Kong and its culture. And I felt a sense of pride whenever something from Hong Kong was recognized or even mentioned or known by other people. I think here in Hong Kong, a lot of people wouldn't really consider me, I guess, textbook Hong Konger. Usually we use the label something like British born Chinese because I have an experience that's completely different to the people who grew up here, and I acknowledge that. When you grow up as maybe just 1 in 6 East Asian kids at school, I guess any kind of positive acknowledgement of something that is connected to your culture could bring you happiness, at least in my case. So when people even knew what Hong Kong was at school, I would feel really happy to talk about the little that I knew about Hong Kong at that time, because honestly, growing up, what I knew was anything that my parents told me or what we saw on TV, because we had TVB at home, although I don't watch TVB nowadays. Now, as an adult living in Hong Kong, many of the popular things in Hong Kong don't really go beyond Hong Kong, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying that we need validation from elsewhere for it to, exist or to be a good thing, but that I just observe that compared to, I guess, the past where Hong Kong cinema was worldwide, nowadays the things that are popular here, such as the boy band Mirror, they don't really gain much acknowledgement outside of Hong Kong. And I mean, it's okay, it's fine. I'm not saying that we need everyone to know about these things, but I think it's just interesting that we're witnessing a creation from Hong Kong just go absolutely international right now. And it's being recognized on a scale that I haven't really seen in a really long time, or like maybe ever since I was born. I don't know. I do also want to add that in Hong Kong, regular access to TikTok is blocked. We haven't been able to access TikTok normally, so by downloading the app on the App Store or going to the website without the use of, additional measures since around COVID times. So I don't really see what goes on there in relation to, yes, let's say trends or like Labubu itself, but It's interesting how I've seen so much love for labubu on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all kinds of spaces. And I can't even imagine what is on TikTok too, because I only see what gets re-uploaded since I don't really want to jump through hoops to use TikTok, okay? But yeah, I feel that it's really impressive that labubu has become so international. And I mean, even here in Hong Kong, it's not like everyone is proud of labubu, or like some people don't care about it at all. Some people think it's ugly too. But they just move on, they don't really care if it's not for them. It's just another thing that people like. And a lot of people here do really love collecting things. We don't have a lot of space in Hong Kong unless we are super rich. And I mean, I personally am not super rich. And even people who are quite wealthy, they don't have a lot of space either. They just have more space than the average person. So it's quite common for us to collect small things such as labubu, and so many people of many ages and circumstances own labubus. When I walk out on the streets, I see, all kinds of age groups, young children, teenagers, adults, and the elderly. And people from all walks of life have become fans of labubu too. So whether you are just, the average citizen or celebrities, shout out to Lisa from Blackpink, who I think really helped to propel labubu to international fame. But yeah, all kinds of people love labubu, and I think that's a really great thing, that it can bring joy to so many people to dress up their labubu, display it at home, take it out, take pictures with their friends when they meet up at labubu meetups or just their regular, coffee meetups. I also want to touch upon the word propaganda and how people keep saying, I'm not falling for this propaganda in relation to labubu and other trending things. And, I know it's a joke, it's said in jest, it's not that serious, but I kind of find it a bit weird when the word propaganda is used. I'm perhaps reading into it a little bit too much, and I acknowledge this, so you don't need to say it to me if I am reading into it a bit too much. But I feel like it's a little bit unusual when I hear the word propaganda being used to talk about a product that is made by a very explicitly Chinese company, Pop Mart. Like everyone knows that Pop Mart's Chinese. That has become very popular. Many collectible items from other companies, whether they're based in, the US, Canada, UK, Australia, or wherever else in the world, are also manufactured in China, just that their companies are not based in China. That being said, I'm not excusing the drop in quality control of labubus when the boom in popularity led to, I guess, a huge surge in demand and a requirement of supply. And all that being said, I still have to talk about the overconsumption. Yes, I feel like labubus have been turning people into overconsumption final bosses at this point. I've seen videos of people queuing early in the morning at Pop Mart to make sure that they get what they want for drops and restocks. I've seen people selling labubus for double or triple the original prices. Ultimately, I believe that if you truly love your labubus, there's something that you really genuinely like to collect and something that makes you very content, then that's completely fine. But if you can easily move on from something that's a trend onto the next big thing, then I guess it might be a good idea to just pause for a moment and think about it. Do you really need to have all these full sets of something that will basically be trash to you in the future? I think you need a moment of clarity to think about whether it's worth going for it, like going all in for something that is not really bringing you genuine joy or something that you will keep hold of for a really long time. When I collect something, such as Sylvanian families, I keep hold of them for a really long time. I have some that I've had for over 10 years, and I keep them in good condition because I genuinely really love and care for them. Stationery as well. I have some memo pads from really old Rilakkuma collections from as well, maybe like 10 years ago. Additionally, is it really worth buying and buying and buying until you get that small chance of possibly pulling the secret labubu? It's really hard to get a secret. I know that it does happen, but then I don't think that I've ever gotten a secret from a blind box before. At the same time, I'm not trying to be pretentious because I do buy things that are kind of pointless too. And I said that I'm not against labubus. I like labubus. I just don't collect them because they're not personally for me, but I really like Lung's art. His art is really charming and cute. I really like the art of the monsters, just that I don't collect the merchandise of the monsters. Instead, I'd like to go to his exhibitions and take a look at his art up close because for me, yeah, I'm not saying this as like a pretentious art person because I'm not that type of person. It's just that I like the way that he draws the characters. As for me, though, as a non-collector, I will just continue observing all the love and craze for Labubu. And I just wish all the best to the artist Lung and his creations. His success is really something that impresses me greatly, and I really believe that he deserves it. His art is so quirky and interesting, and he's been creating art for such a long time that I'm really glad that he has this current recognition, and I just hope that he can continue being successful and make great achievements with the monsters and anything else that he creates. So yeah, to all the Labubu lovers here, or Labubu skeptics, naysayers out there, thanks for watching if you really reached the end of this video. If you didn't, then I guess you wouldn't see this. I'm not sure if this video is going to be very good or if many people see it, but I may make more in the future, just sitting down talking about something that's on my mind. Usually I just make content about life or makeup, but I have been really wanting to try out this type of video. I guess more like, not really a video essay, but just like chatting, discussing some kind of trending or recent topic or something that's personal to me. This one is not even like that personal, but then it is a little bit. I don't know. I'm just saying stuff. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching and have a good day. Bye.